And if there will be a tie for first place, even better, because there will be a tiebreaker match to decide the first place. So I'm rooting for as much chance.
What that's like, I think I'm just going to stay out of there. I don't know. Professional just feels like above my skill set. I'm not ready for that. But all right, Fabi with the white pieces against Pragg. Remember, Pragg beat Fabi when they played earlier in the event when he had the white pieces. So Caruana has not had a
in colors reversed. So again, is it revenge time? He's very, very motivated to get that.
Yeah, he is motivated, and I promised Danny we'll jump over to Pragg's sister, Vaishali, in the next game to check out that opening theory. This one is a Nimzo. We won't backtrack too far. We'll just say that if we go back half a dozen moves, the novelty was knight g3. It was actually a really similar position to Hikaru's battle. Again, mirror image almost. In Hikaru's game, he also set up his pieces like that. We also talked about that Tartakova pawn setup with black putting bishop on b7, breaking out with c5. Here, however, white's knight was not on the e5 square. It's taken a new circuit. This was the new move, the novelty knight g3. And we can see that the knight's journey does not stop there. Pragg very sensibly develops his knight, and now knight to h5, trying to remove black's defender. The knight on f6 is always the key to holding the king side together. Here it also holds the d5 pawn, so in a bit of undermining here, the white queen ready to replace the knight if it's captured. Pragg, it feels like he was prepared. It feels like he's kind of taking the most principled path here as black. He grabbed a pawn in the center. He's a braver man than me, that's all I can say. Bishop g5 now, a nasty pin. The blue arrow makes its first appearance of the day. Black had to block this pin to stop the structure around his king being shattered. Bishop to e7 found. Fabi continues to blitz, rook to e1, putting some pressure along the e-file now. I think there was actually a threat of rook takes e7 in a lot of these positions, removing a key defender so that you can wreck the black king side. But bishop e6 blocks the white rook, and after a trade of pieces, queen to a4. Wow, we're 17 moves in, Fabi's barely paused a thought.
This is awesome. This is super exciting. I mean, and I don't know that Pragg was prepared. Maybe he just played the most principled approach because he's like, I don't know what else to do here. I'm going to challenge you, so I will grab that pawn. But the time management suggests certainly Fabi is the better prepared player. Whether Pragg is still in prep or not, he's down almost a half an hour on the clock. I want to back up and go back to some analysis if that's okay. Just really funny lines to see knight h5 come so early, and was there any other way for black to approach it other than really taking the pawn? Because if you don't, there are threats of knight takes f6 and queen h5 right away, which would be a double attack to the h7 pawn and the d5 pawn. We should probably show right away that if knight takes h5, queen h5, g6, you actually can grab that pawn because there's no discovered check by the bishop due to the fact that the knight protects the queen. So maybe there's some compensation here for black, but that was kind of a threat. Anyway, so I know Pragg took a lot of time on that move, so that's why I went back to asking after knight h5, was there any other approach than the principled one to take the pawn? Anna, what do you got over here? What's our trusty engine say?
Pragg is the engine. Pragg has played the moves of the engine, even if he is not prepared. is just, winging it, playing like Stockfish, playing like Leela. It's in their blood. They play like these super inhuman AI creatures that learn to play chess by playing chess against themselves. So he knows. He knows that he needs to test Fabi's preparation, even if it's extremely sharp and dangerous. I would be terrified here from Black's perspective. But he grabs the pawn because he needs to have at least something, material advantage, before he starts going defensive and has to play very precisely here. But I think this is a very, very difficult position to be in from Black's perspective, and Pragg will have to be extremely precise to not get into trouble.
The good thing for Pragg, despite being half an hour down on the clock, is that it feels like he's answered some really difficult questions already. So if he's accurate over the next few moves, maybe he can just give back his extra pawn as Black to alleviate the pressure, to equalize this one. We see him looking away from the board quite a lot. It feels like he's prepared up to a certain point, but maybe hasn't gone as deeply as Fabi. I'm wondering also here, Danny, what his next move is, because there are tricks, there are traps. I was going to suggest the move g6, for example, but whoops, that would be a huge blunder right now.
Let me show it, because I'm an insecure IM who wants to point out the tactic. No, if g6, white quickly has queen takes e8, I assume, right? And then knight takes f6, yeah. Whoops, you sack and fork, and the house falls apart, so...
Can I also show a tactic? I also have one. It's not as pretty, but there's so many tactics, and I spotted one and I checked it with the engine, and it actually is okay, because I was wondering, what if Black moves away the knight from d4 so there's no trickery, and you move it toward the king side because it's looking shaky there, so knight f5, I thought, why not? But then white takes on f6, check, you take back with the queen because you don't want to damage your pawn structure, and then knight takes d5, boom, I know.
We're coming back a few seconds early because we're all sitting on the edge of our seats expecting this handshake, just like you fans who've been watching. One more repetition and/or the call of an arbiter will signal our last game in Classical coming to an end. And I think we're seeing it right here, right now. The players just shake. They're way past move 30, so they don't even need an arbiter's claim. They can just agree to a draw, and they do.
Yeah, a fair result. Ultimately, Fabi put some pressure on. At the end, it was Pragg maybe pushing, but neutralizing each other in that rook endgame. More chess for us. More Armageddons incoming.
We'll have to see that. Today, this is going to be Armageddon number 5. Only one game was decided in Classical Chess, so lots of action coming soon your way. And